3:30 p.m. Eastern time. Big time on CBS features the Oregon Ducks heading to Kinnick Stadium to take on Iowa. And hello, Iowa Hawkeyes. Someone loves you. More specifically, about 13 individuals in the conference room in Grapevine, Texas. They love you. And now this is a top 20 matchup here in Iowa City. Let's leave all the playoff stuff over to the side. Let's talk about the football of it all. Tom Fornelli, we've seen different editions of the Oregon Ducks so far this year. Iowa is a team that you've been highlighting for a while, just kind of continues to get a little bit better and a little bit healthier, right? You know, some of that early on was a big factor. What's going to be the most important thing for Iowa to do in this game?
Win the turnover battle. First of all, I mean, if you look at the forecast, this could be a weather game when it is played. Could be very windy, very, very cold. Even a slight chance of snow, I heard, is possible for this one. So that will matter. But if you look at Iowa this year, I mean, it's almost, it's kind of like a stereotype at this point, but it's also true. Like when they have won the turnover battle or just not lost it, they've won. They're 6-0 in games with an equal or a plus points off turnover margin, and they're 0-2 without it. So with Oregon coming to town, you feel like Iowa's offense is still not explosive. It is still not incredible. It's effective enough, and when it gets into scoring position, it is typically pretty good at finishing drives. So the best way for it to do it still remains the defense giving it short fields, whether that's by creating a turnover or just getting off the field with a punt. So that is going to be what they need to do against this Oregon offense. Can they? I don't know. If we go back to Iowa's game against Indiana, they lost 20-15 at home. They did a very good job of slowing down Indiana's rushing attack, but they still got picked apart pretty good in the passing game. And this was a week after they had played Rutgers, and they got absolutely torn apart by the Rutgers passing attack, which is why I was so skeptical of Iowa's ability to even hang in this game going in. So, like, if their secondary can't cover Rutgers, what are they going to do against Indiana? And since then, their pass defense has been much stronger, but they've played Wisconsin, Penn State, and Minnesota.
Who's your favorite passing attack in that run?
I mean, Minnesota, I think. Yeah. Because it was Grunkemeyer for Penn State in that game. So that remains to be seen. Like, what can they do against Oregon? But at the same time, like, and I've discussed this as well, I've written about it, Oregon's offense has not been very good lately. Like, if you look at their last 3 games and you take out the Rutgers game, Oregon is averaging 1.94 points per drive. For context, on the season, that would rank 95th nationally. They have a 41.2% success rate. That would rank 90th. And they have a 9.7% explosive rate, which would rank 120th. Kenyon Sadiq has kind of disappeared in the passing game. He has not been nearly as productive in the last few weeks. Corian Moore, he's very talented, but he's a true freshman, and he's still playing well, but he's come back down to earth a bit compared to what he was doing earlier in the year. So we'll see. I think it's an interesting matchup, and I think the weather was going to have a huge impact.
I mean, look, this is a big-time game for Dante Moore. He's going to have to be, like, patient. He's going to be on time. I was probably going to do a pretty good job of denying their first looks, especially on anything intermediate, right? Like, you're going to get a bunch of zone from this Hawkeyes team. I actually like Will Stein's ability to scheme some of that up in conjunction with Dante Moore. I mean, he's had a bye week to work on this, right? Like I mean, they've not played a team that was an actual threat for them in about a month since an Indiana game. You know, Wisconsin's a dead team walking, and Rutgers just does not have anything, defensively. Like, Wisconsin's got something defensively, just not offensively. It's almost like they had kind of a test there, and they like no test at all in Rutgers' either side of the ball. But to me, this comes down to, like, dance with what brung you, right? Iowa's offensive line is on that very short list of, like, maybe the best offensive lines in the country. Can they push Oregon around and stay ahead of the chains? Like that, can they control the ball? Can they make this an ugly-ass Iowa game, right? Running the ball, frustrating the hell out of Oregon defense, picking up those 3rd and 4s, quarterback run, smash mouth stuff, hit some play action, Maybe you pop a screen. You're probably not going to win a game if you have to score 35, right? I know Iowa's offense looks a lot better now that Gronowski's kind of grown into the role. He looks like a lot healthier, by the way. Looks kind of like what he was last year at the FCS. But no, I do think that's a really good offensive line. I know Ryan in the chat's a really astute viewer we have. He says, the O-line good, or do they just have a dual-threat quarterback? I bet you that offensive line is going to have several guys drafted way higher than that quarterback gets drafted. I think they have some real dudes there, for sure. And defensively, I mean, I think how the refs call this is going to matter as well, right? Can you be a little clutchy? Can you be a little grabby in that weather? Are we sure we see PI? That will. I mean, I don't want to say it's an excuse. It's not, but certain games, the way they're officiated, just matter, right? Like Patriots probably don't beat the Rams in that Super Bowl if they're not allowed to just grab. Same thing when they played the Colts. In this kind of weather, like you can get away with some more stuff, I think. And if I'm Iowa, I'm making them call it all the time. Also, like, are we sure Oregon's receivers are really good at like sitting down and being on the same page against some of the zone stuff? Like I trust Malik to run by you on play action, and that's about it. I don't trust him to like, hey, I'm getting this. I'm going to sit, present a target for my QB. So it might have to be just all Decorian. Or as Tom mentioned, I thought it was a really good rundown by him, good analysis. If Kenyon comes back, I don't want to like double talk here. So I'm going to see the Florida Danny.
I think you guys all covered it pretty well. I do think this is an opportunity for Oregon to showcase some of the athletes that we haven't seen on display recently. Kenny Sadiq was a weapon for them. I mean, early in the season and even last year. Be curious if they can get him back involved in the game plan. Phil Parker's one of the best out there in the business. I do think with the bye week, he'll have some stuff for Oregon as well to try to confuse Dante Moore, who hasn't seen that many different defenses. And then Gronowski's just been, he wasn't this dynamic threat that I thought he was going to be and kind of make this offense, one of the upper tier in even the top half of the Big Ten, but he has given them an added dimension of quarterback run, where I do think that to me is a priority for Oregon, is to try to make Gronowski beat you with his arm, because I don't know if he can do that. We saw the Iowa State game early was one that we were all watching a lot, and he looked like his internal play clock was as slow as molasses. It was like, well, he's got to get rid of the ball. Oregon's got to do a better job that teams haven't done recently of making Mark Gronowski uncomfortable.
How do you grade Oregon's defense?
Pretty damn good up front. Nice size on the edges.
I mean, who's lit them up? Like, I mean, we can play the who have they played game, but the overall profile as we're sitting here on November 5th says Oregon's a darn good defense. We don't spend a lot of time really looking at them that way. And they will need that group to come out here and show those athletes. They'll have to get pressure on them. They'll have to be able to make plays, when Gronowski gets out there and breaks the pocket. I think it's a big game for the Ducks defense as well. We always, we throw X factors in the promo of some big game breakdown. That's that sort of second, third level stuff I'm looking at, that in a game that carries huge significance, the Ducks defense, I mean, Indiana moved it on them a little bit. I know the weather was a huge factor for both teams in the Wisconsin game, but I don't know if anybody has really carved that group up.
I mean, so they have played 4 games against offenses that are just non-competitive offenses in college football, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oklahoma State, Oregon State, Wisconsin, and Northwestern. Rutgers actually holding them to 10 is somewhat impressive to me. And I know it's like a boiling point thing, and like Rutgers athletically probably can't play with them, but like Rutgers is a more than competent college offense this year, and they did shut them down. So that's a good game in their column, I think, honestly. Indiana kind of moved it when they needed to. I know that they had a defensive score in that game to get to 30, but scoring 24 offensive points when you're down a drive because you lose one, obviously, to the defensive score in Austin, that's not bad.
Yeah, I think the matchup matters a lot here, because I think Oregon is strong up front. I don't think they have a particularly outstanding pass rush, or at least they haven't shown that.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they're going to need it in this game. Like, are you worried about Iowa moving the ball vertically in the passing game against you?
No, but you want to contain the quarterback, force him to make mistakes, speed him up. You want to you want to stop the run on early downs, put him into an obvious passing situation, and try to take advantage of that.
And I think they can do that, because it's like, if I had a concern about Oregon overall, it's the secondary. And I think part of that, again, is they don't have an elite pass rush. And I think the secondary gets asked to cover a lot. And I think we saw that against Indiana. I just don't have much confidence Iowa can do what Indiana did.
And I do think Oregon's one of their strengths is the interior of the defensive line. Amari Washington and Bear Alexander, they're pretty good players. Like, that should be a pretty good matchup up front with that offensive line of Iowa's.
So does Oklahoma State's total ineptitude just mean we have to write that result off? Because that was okay, man. But that was just one of the biggest ass kickings of the season.
That game didn't count.
It was a phenomenal ass kicking.
It counts in the standings. It doesn't count for evaluation. Not to me. I mean, most of that was like, what was it, Bud? Would you estimate like 50% of that game was garbage time?
I mean, trying to look at the box score here, but it was 6. Yeah, I mean, it was 41-3 into the first half.
According to EPA per snap, every single snap on offense and defense, Oregon got about a half point better.
Yeah.
I was looking at the biggest ass kickings of the season. Of the top 11, Oregon had 2 of them. They were against Oklahoma State and Rutgers. 5 of them were against FCS teams. 4 of them were against group of 6 teams. And then you've got the Oklahoma State and Rutgers. If
Rutgers is impressive.
If we're going to play the tail end results, is there any chance the Ducks can come in there and kick ass?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think that they will. Like, I don't think Oregon's going to blow them out if they win. I think that the weather, combined with the way Iowa's going to try to play, it probably will end up looking a lot like the Indiana game. And the key will be, can they force Indiana to make a mistake or limit the explosives that, like, Mendoza was able to hit in that game? Because Indiana was not consistent, but they did hit some big plays.
Yeah. And it was timely big plays too. Like being able to hit those deep passes right as you're starting to flip the field and get Autzen feeling a little bit, puckering up a little bit. That was I mean, obviously it was one of the best wins of the season. Any other notes here on big time on CBS? Any stuff we're watching for?
I mean, I think the chat brings up a great point. Like, Oregon or Iowa has nobody at the skill positions or quarterback who would start for Indiana. Right? Like, This is a meaningful step down. It's just the offensive line is gonna have to win this for them. I think a key matchup to watch, but like, Oregon's edges are heavy, and like, can they hold the edge? Like, those guys have some real bulk to them. Like, they're not like these light speed rusher types. Like, if you can't move them, those guys can actually hold the point. Like, that's a fairly big deal here against what Iowa wants to run.
Trying to get the outside run game going. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a good shout right there.
I mean, this is worst possible scenario for Iowa. They're all excited that they're ranked in the top 25, but you got Oregon who's pissed off. They just dropped. They're not getting respected. And you had the Phil Parker talking about the roster.
I was going to say,
like, Dan Lanning has just been handed a silver platter of motivational meat that he can serve up to his team. I think this will be a highly motivated Oregon team. Doesn't mean, like, I think there is a greater chance for an Oregon blowout than there is for an Iowa win. When I say blowout, I mean 2 touchdowns. Like, it's not going to be like the Rutgers game.
I don't think Oregon can blow them out unless Iowa really plays horrible.
Well, let's think. That could be a fun bet, right?
Danny, I'm with you.
What's our line?
Yeah, let's see what those prices are. And 2 things. Number 1, I'm glad you brought it up, because when you said Phil Parker, one of the best in the business, I was going to say, for all the experience that he's had, you thought he'd know better than to just step into that, talking about the well-funded roster. And then number 2, I know you and Tom Fornelli are artistes when it comes to our computer-generated images. I need motivational meat. I need motivational meat as a product that Cover 3 can sell. Hey, do you need motivational meat? Come on down to Cover 3, where we've got 2 for 1 motivational meat this Friday.
All right, so Oregon to win by, what'd you say, 2 or more touchdowns?
Yeah.
No, because it's gonna be too low scoring. Like 2 touchdowns would feel like a blowout, but a 10-point win. We can get alt line in 9.5.
They could
right?
win 38
Oh,
to
get
nothing.
13 and a half.
So, I mean, Oregon minus 13.5 plus 188. Money line on the games plus 195. So, to Danny's point, like it's basically a coin flip.
Like the
I
odds
have something to
makers
say
have
about
the
that on
odds makers
Thursday.
have the odds makers have set this spread, but no one actually believes it's going to come down to this spread.
But like, okay, if you just put it in layman's terms, that's basically a touchdown either way. Touchdown either way on the spread, Iowa wins. Touchdown either way, the other way, Oregon wins by 2 scores.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fair way to price that.
I'm excited. Should be a really, really fun game. All right.